welcome my Libra Collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs. Welcome to your work, career, vocation read, a timeless read. I am your reader, Angelo, Lyons, Mal for short, professional witch, professional intuitive, president of Drawing the Circle production since 1998, author of Words of Grace from a Professional Witch, available on Kindle, link in the description box, and creator on Patreon. Having a field day over there, link in the description box as well. If you want to come hang out, come Patreon on Patreon, because I'm the Archangel of Lyons, Angelo Lyons, but you can call me Mal. Also, Mercury conjunct Venus in Libra, third house. I'm Leo rising, and this Mercury retrograde this time around, at the time of this recording in January 2022. It's been a bit much. Took a couple of days off dealing with tech in one area and working with the tech that worked in another, because that's a corporate president for you. Anyway, let's get down to biz, shall we? It is a 12-card spread, 3 levels of power spread, technically, that I learned from Carolyn Myss, MYSS, PhD. This is her archetype deck, Sacred Contracts, based on her work by Sacred Contracts. There's a link in the description box, though, where she's talking about the 3 levels of power as symbolic lenses that you can look at your life at in many different ways. In this case, life purpose, work, career, vocation, what you do to survive, your internal passion, hunger, and thirst, and your spiritual stuff, right? Bringing that into alignment. There are chakras involved, and we'll see what pops out of my mouth explaining that as we go. Otherwise, it is a general read. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't, because your sun sign is going to get different vibes on work, career, vocation than your moon. Your sun sign could easily be about your work, your survival in the world, or your rising, for that matter, where your moon sign might be more about your spiritual power, your vocation. So let's do this. Both feet on the floor if you can. Focus on your breath if you will. I just did a lovely round of breath work called the Wim Hof method, which I do before every reading pretty much. But yeah, I guess that's about it. Let's see what I can get for you, because the more you're fulfilled in your life, the more you're fulfilling your role in the divine plan and unity consciousness and blah, blah, blah. So let's see what hits the table, shall we? Please take a nice deep breath. Downloading. Here we go. As I call upon the collective pantheons of angels, archangels, goddesses, gods, ascended masters of life purpose through work, career, vocation, and the higher selves of all involved, 5th dimension and above, 8th chakra and above, please. I'm going to start with the Caroline Myss archetype deck. As I said, what is the 8th chakra dynamic hovering over the head of the Libra collective sun, moon, rising? Nope. Venus sign watching this video, receiving this reading, affecting the electromagnetic dynamics in the other chakras in their work, career, and vocation, what they attract, what they repel, right? That what they're drawn to, what they're not. First in their work, 8th chakra. That's their survival intuition. What about their creative intuition? Their career, internal passion, hunger, thirst. What about their vocation? What's their visionary intuition in their vocation, their spiritual calling? Work, career, vocation, survival, creativity, and visionary intuition. Takes all of them. These are in the title. Let's see how brave you are. Oh, well, I see a very lovely theme here for sure. 3 different archetypal families, but some good through lines, connective tissue, if you like. You've got the monk/nun, it's gendered, you do you, in your work in the world, which for where we are on planet Earth right now, there are a couple of different interpretations, pandemic and whatnot. The divine child inside is lovely. Talk about inner child work, heart, third eye crown, 2nd level of power, career. It's your inside stuff, your feminine energy. Child family archetype. Everybody has a child family archetype, but not everybody has the divine family archetype. It's a sub-pattern. And the advocate, an action family archetype. So your work is as a monk done, put that in air quotes. Your career is the divine child in its creativity. And your vocation is about taking action. in some way. The action family archetype. I dig it. Let me read you what's on the cards. The shadow is what you're learning, what you're healing, right? The shadow work, whatever you want to call it, the healing work to get you to the gold. Alchemy from lead to gold. Lead has 3 more atoms than gold on the periodic table. Got to burn off those, transform those 3 atoms. The shadow attribute, negative judgment of the physical world, excess piety. I've had moments of that in this pandemic where I'm like, I'm not leaving the house. I'm not leaving the house, yes, for health reasons, but this is a divine family archetype. So if you find yourself doing that, check this out. This is what you're shooting for. The light attributes, selfless devotion and single-minded dedication to spirit. So, like, I live alone, I work from home, me and my cats, my boys. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook if you want to see pictures of my boys. There's always Goofy going on here, 3 black cats, my little babies, my 3 princes of the black catness. And we pray a lot around here. There's a lot of prayer, there's a lot of meditation. So I can relate this. And say, remember, I am Venus and Libra, so this might be for me too, particularly because I have a very strong divine child archetype. Whether you have regardless of the form, like I said, of the sub-pattern, everybody has the child, the victim, victor. It's lead and gold, right? Sliding scale. The saboteur, empowerer, right? And the prostitute archetype, which I call the light side, the hooker with the heart of gold, but it's about faith. It's not about sex work, although it could be whatever, you do you. Everybody's got those 4. But this is about you surviving in your career according to a divine thing. Divine family archetype, divine child archetype. I wouldn't call that a double whammy, but I would say there is connective tissue. The shadow attribute, an inability to defend oneself against negative forces, and I grew up with that. That's how I learned how to cast circle. Really, I didn't even know I was casting circle as a kid. I would imagine this bubble of blue flame around me. So ridiculous. But there it was, divinely guided even at like age 4. Light attributes, well, superheroes had a lot to do with that. Sue Storm. Yeah, except on fire. The light attributes, innocence, purity, and redemption suggests a special connection with the divine. I really feel like that you have this force inside of you. Everybody's a divine child, but the divine child archetype, really look at in your career, in terms of your creativity, how you are about defending yourself against negative forces, which, negative judgments of the physical world. There's actually quite a lot of double whammy, or at least connective tissue between these two. So think of an outside, like a monk or a nun, surviving and taking care of this divine child within, a special connection to the divine. And I've had that my whole life, obviously. The advocate, however, this is very adult feeling. I love advocates, but the shadow, embracing negative causes or committing to causes for personal gain. Rampant on planet Earth. The light attribute inspires you to put compassion into action. So are you a compassionate monk nun? Are you a compassionate divine child, right? Depends on the day you're having, right? The choices that you make, what's going on. All right, so that's all. That's the most any of these cards are going to get in terms of in-depth 12-card spread. Want to keep this under an hour. So now we're just going to move down the rest of the chakras. Daughters of the Moon will take the crown chakra, the third eye, the throat, and the heart chakra. Your creative intuition on all 3 levels. This is, you'll see, once it's all laid out, the puzzle pieces usually click together. Your internal world, your yin-ternal world, your feminine energy, your psychological energy, feminist deck. Daughters of the Moon, please take a nice deep breath. And away we go as I call upon my goddesses of air, the sign of Libra, powers of the East. Please, 3 cards. We'll do them face up, one at a time here. For the Libra Collective, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign watching this video, receiving this reading, maybe giving this reading. They've got the monk nun in the 8th chakra of their work. There's survival intuition, how they sometimes make money, but not everybody makes money from their work. They make money from their career. Some people make money in their work so that they can do their career. So what's going on here, please, for the Libra Heart Third Eye Crown? Okay. Nine of Blades is the Nine of Swords. In this deck, it's called Criticism, but it doesn't necessarily mean being naggy. I mean, that would really criticism that way. But think critical math, critical care unit. Critical anything means important, but also nearly microscopic. All the arrows here, the blades, are pointed inwards. So this could very much be a time of deep introspection, and let's call it what it is: single-minded dedication to spirit. I mean, all tarot cards are neutral, but if you just go by the Rider-Waite deck, swords over the head, zodiac bedspread, if you look, planetary zodiac bedspread, then there could be a lot of overthinking here. There could be a lot of incisive thinking, critical, does it even say that? Negative judgments of the physical world, excess piety. Well, that's a third eye thing. This is a third eye card. So let's keep going. Let's see, because the Mythic Tarot will give us the last three chakras, the more physical stuff. All right, my goddesses. Divine Child in their career, Heart Third Eye Crown. Six of Pentacles, balance, but success is the word written on the card here. Success, we have a para-Olympic race sort of here, Special Olympics, right? Whoever's in the game wins, right? But there is forward momentum, but when you get Pentacles on the inner, that's about wisdom and balance, that you really have what you need inside of yourself, maybe even physiologically inside of you. That's really more physical. But Heart Third Eye Crown, maybe this really sense of worth and balance, and no, I'm a divine child, I got this, I'm doing the best that I can, with an ability to move forward in terms of your career, but we'll see how that looks on the outer too. All right, the Advocate in their eighth. I feel like this is the leverage, because one of these has leverage. That's why I say check your other signs, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus. Because if they're all interconnected. So my goddesses, please, Advocate in the eighth for their vocation, their spiritual calling, their visionary intuition. How do they put this into? How do they put their vocation into action here? How about with the Sun, the truth, the light, the healing, clairaudience, clairvoyance, all the clairs. The Sun creates clarity. Clairvoyant means clear seeing, right? It's really getting that. But when you've got a major arcana Heart Third Eye Crown, it's all of them at once, right? This is the overall dynamic, where your Monk Nun definitely feels very third eye throat chakra. What are you saying? What are you not, right? What are you focused on? What are you not? Willpower and mental power. But here, this divine child feels like a stability. You know, not a major arcana, but maybe all four chakras here are really balanced. There's an alignment here. And the divine child would have that. And of course, mileage may vary on this, how much your relationship with the divine is parental. Mine is every now and again, but the higher you go, the more mother, what do they call them? Father, Mother, God, God, Goddess, all that just becomes the divine singularity. Yeah, the Tao. Tao, 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 Tao. Okay, I really like this for you, my Libras. This feels very positive. I mean, obviously, the Monk Nun is not running all over the place, and even if they are, there's this, see, the thing about judgments, like the spiritual ego saying, you shouldn't be so judgy, let's not be so judgy. And sometimes judgment is just a thin lead veneer over a golden nugget of intuition. So if we repress the judgment, instead of like looking at it, right, that's a good idea for that night. If something's keeping you up at nights, you know, Nine of Swords, Rider-Waite, then really go in and say, okay, well, what is this? Let's just let it speak, right? Particularly if it's the child inside of you that's like, but you hate this. It's okay, honey. What are you feeling? What's under that? I don't know. I don't feel safe. The child archetype, regardless of sub-pattern, is about safety and innocence. But with redemption on the table here, I think whatever you're going through, you're going to redeem some serious success and wealth out of. All right. Lower 3 chakras, mythic tarot, the masculine energy, looking at yourself from the outside looking in, maybe you from the inside looking out at something in the physical world. But lower 3 chakras are always about relationships, your tribes, your groups, your circles, even your political affiliations, you know, the sports teams and stuff, all of that is tribal. So 3 or more people. Second chakra is one-on-one, umbilical, relationship to another person, as well as a relationship to money, as well as a relationship to a substance. So it's a tricky chakra, the second chakra. And the solar plexus is your relationship to yourself, your honor code, your boundaries, your self-esteem, your gut intuition that no one else gets but you from time to time. And that's where self-esteem comes in. Are you going to follow what you're feeling here? If there is blah, 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 when it's guttural like that, it's like that's your own power there. So let's see what hits the table. Breathe. Boundaries, boundaries, boundaries. All right, what you will, what you won't, what you do, what you don't, what comes out of your mouth. So here we go. What are the choices that you make? As I call upon my gods of air, the sign of Libra powers of the East, please, 3 cards, face up one at a time for the Libra collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign. Watching this video, receiving this reading in their work, they've got the Monk Nun with the 9 of Blades, criticism on the inner, what they got on the outer there. I hear ya, I hear ya, I hear ya. Leave the card in my hand. All right, we got the Lovers, life-changing decision. We'll come back to that. They're saying, get them all on the table. We got the Divine Child in their career. What's going on there? What's lower 3 chakras for their career? The Tower, 2 major arcana cards in a row, but the third so far with that Sun card. And with the Advocate in their 8th. Sun on the inner, clairvoyance, health, healing, light, truth, shining their light at full capacity. What's that going on the outer? You got 3 major arcana cards in a row, technically 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. You got Temperance. That's why they say just put them all out at once. Face up and then read them for Libra and filth. I'm just going to say this Monk Nun is a lifesaver for you in terms of your survival, how you make money in the world, if that's how you do it. Some people, like my work is as a producer and a president. I don't make money at that. I make money as a teacher and a healer and a reader, right? That's my career. That's my passion, my thirst, like an artist career. Waiting tables or DoorDash or whatever that is now. So this introspection is really, really key. Pay attention to your thoughts, but understand when it goes into that place of judgment. And we still got 3 healing mantra cards from Matt Kahn coming up. Be interesting if it was dissolving judgments. But of course this is throat chakra. The Lover's card, yes, there could be an office romance, whatever. If that's your situation, apply it if you can. Check your other signs. But certainly there are life-changing decisions right now. A choice has a consequence. The consequence of a decision is your life changes. So I think I'll have another cup of coffee as a choice. I think I'll give it all up and, you know, move to South America and grow my own coffee beans. It's a bit life-changing. Go to Guam, you know, whatever. Go to Guam! You Guamanians. And here we have the Judgment of Paris. Look it up. It's Greek myth. Golden apples at a wedding reception did not go well. That was the hors d'oeuvre. They wrote on it to the most beautiful goddess, Athena. Aphrodite and Hera jumped for it. None of the gods would decide who to give it to, so they got Paris, not the city, the hero, to judge who gets it. Now, really, who he gave it to creates the Trojan War. So we never know what kind of decision is going to be made. But Hera is power, Athena is wisdom, Aphrodite is love. So the monk nun introspecting so that they can make the most wise, loving, empowered choices and decisions here. Athena, Aphrodite, Hera. So go in. And I mean, with this divine child here with the Tower. Now, the Tower on the outer, so many ways to interpret that in a general read. When this comes up with a client, it's much clearer, personal one-on-one, booking a reading with Mal video in the description box. How to do it's very easy, but it's fun video. I'm just going to say to you, what I'm getting here is that this might be you with the divine child, with this internal success and momentum, where all of a sudden things change on the inner, or you get hit by a bolt of divine light, which is very possible with this Sun card here with Temperance. An inspiration comes in that changes everything. When I teach tarot, and I haven't for a while, it's the pandemic and all that, but I do. Taught it for decades. I certify people, join the Circle Productions Tarot Certification Workshop, which means I say you can read because I'm the final exam. You gotta read me. Read me for filth. Then certainly this can be certainly a lightning strikes on the outside, but if someone believes, the ghosts and paranormal, that metaphysical new age stuff is all bullshit. And then one morning, crack of dawn, there's their great-great-grandmother standing at the foot of the bed going, still not a bachagaloop, right? Hey, of course we're real, right? Where does all of that disbelief go? Boom. Faulty foundation, in comes the truth, bang. So, general read, you will weather this, certainly, but this could absolutely be an inspiration that changes the game for you, hence the life-changing decision that you really need to go deep on that and really look at what your judgments are and ascertain what am I really feeling here? Because if the child doesn't feel safe, it's not going to play. But I feel like this light that's coming in, right? The light of the sun hitting the tower here, right? That light, that truth lightning is truthening. We got a lovely dynamic here. The advocate with the sun on the inner with temperance, patience, healing, balance. Temperance is actually another way of looking at alchemy, because when you temper steel, it takes three things, right? Time, heat, and pressure, right? So they heat up a sword, just for example, any piece of metal, till it's like white hot, and they douse it in like oil, motor oil. Watch YouTube vids on it. It's a fascinating process, and that creates a certain pressure that makes the metal harder. It's tempering metal. Tempering eggs, if you've ever tried to make hollandaise from scratch, right? You know, you end up with scrambled egg butter. Not great. Scrambled egg mayonnaise, scrambled egg mayo, not great, right? So you have to add the warm liquid to it slowly to temper it. Tempering chocolate, right? So there is absolutely your ability to put compassion into action here, but it's going to take time. And the child inside of you might be very excited and motivated about this, but then again, it might completely have changed your career, maybe in terms of just your own creativity, your own dynamic, right? Like, I was not expecting to be a YouTuber 5 years ago. I had an office in Sayville and taught in the Malachite room, and, had a couch to sit on with my clients and could walk around the street and get Starbucks at the drop of a hat. Not like that anymore. My career was struck by lightning, completely devastating at the time, but hey, take a look at me now. Because there's just an empty space. I'm sorry, I Phil Collins does. Let's shake it off. Please don't let me have that song stuck in my head all day. That's okay, I'll listen to Joan Jett. Usually she overwrites everything. Because I don't give a damn about my bad reputation. Right, Diana? Bombshell Wonder Woman, by the way, for Libras today. Let's get you some healing mantras. You're an air sign. Mantras come natural if you work them. Like anything else, they work if you work them. The MatCon Healing Mantra deck, we'll get one of these each. I'll show you how to put them together, and then we'll give you the blessing and we're done. Please take a nice deep breath. As I call upon the Ascended Masters of life purpose, through work, career, and vocation, please, what are the perfect healing mantras for the Libra Collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign watching this video, receiving this reading? They got the monk, nun in their work, deep introspection, Nine of Blades, maybe some overthinking, and according to Matt Kahn, and I agree with him, overthinking is an alarm saying that your heart's not open, but it feels like that's going to be okay here with what's going on in their career. It's just that big decision in front of them in some way, shape, or form. Please make it specific. What's their mantra? Unhooking the past. There's nothing to regret when I learned from my past. We're going to read them from the bookie book. I think it's worth it. For their career, the Divine Child in the 8th, Six of Pentacles, success, internal momentum, wisdom moving forward, with the Tower on the outer. Oh, and with this image of a race and the tower, it's like, this isn't necessarily the end of something. It's not. It's basically halfway through the major arcana. This could be the, and go! And you're off. And you're moving forward. What's the healing mantra? Make this specific for the Libra. Help them here. Untangling neglect. Untangling neglect. That was tricky. I take the time to give myself all the approval I desire. That's inner child work. Say to that divine child inside of you, oh, honey, I think you're amazing. Who cares what they think? I think you're great. You're the 10th. You're the teats. You can sing to it. You're a star. Baby, you're a star. You might not know it now. But baby, yes, I'm a star. You big prince. Alright, Advocate in the Vocation in the 8th, Sun on the inner, which is a star. It's not the star card, but the Sun is a star. The Temperance on the outer, though, just hang in there, baby. What's their perfect healing mantra for their vocation, their spiritual calling? Creating cooperation. More gets accomplished when everyone has a role to play. Role play. My grandmother, what big teeth you have. Let's read these. If you, by the way, you put them together. So in your work, you're unhooking the past. Major life decision. In your career, you're untangling neglect. Hello. And in your vocation, you're creating cooperation, but this can be creating cooperation with the divine, is all I'm saying. To put compassion into action, you flip them over, you put the mantras together, you got there's nothing to regret when I learned from my past and my work. And in my career, I take the time to give myself all the approval I desire, because you may not be getting it from the outside right now, particularly with the world the way it is, right? That approval, and by the way, give it to yourself first anyway. There's a certain type of approval that only you can give to you, and no one else can. That's how it's written. I didn't write it that way. But I'm glad I did if I did. And in your vocation, more gets accomplished when everyone has a role to play. Powerful. All right. So let's read you Unhooking the Past. And then I'll put it all together as I do with a blessing. I take the time to give myself unhooking the past. They're really right next to each other. Unhooking the past. There's nothing to regret when I learn from my past, and I've had that experience a lot. But you got to be willing to do the work, right? To do the introspection from a monk-nun POV. When you unhook the past, you are able to see crucial moments of growth from fresh perspectives. In other words, when you're in it, it's not so great. This allows you to see the mistakes of your past as catalysts for development. A catalyst is a chemical something that creates chemical interaction that speeds up or slows down a process. Caffeine is sort of a catalyst. Not as something you did wrong. In other words, it's seeing it as a catalyst for your growth, not something you did wrong. It is an opportunity to see how your previous actions could have been better aligned with your highest values, particularly here with your vocation. When you learn today the things you didn't know before, you are able to meet your current circumstances with renewed clarity, so the past can be unhooked instead of repeated. Life-changing decision. Heart, throat, third eye alignment. This mantra is ideal for overcoming self-criticism, which might be what this approval is about here as well. Releasing shame and being more open-minded. right? But how do I know that it was the worst thing that ever happened? Maybe it's the best thing that ever happened to me. I'm not seeing it that way right now. But I got a decision on the table here. And remember, it's a divine family archetype. So your vocation is definitely influencing that, putting compassion into action, maybe for yourself. Take this job and put it where your root chakra is. Take this job and shove it. The divine child in your career here, untangling neglect, success on the inner, and tower on the outer. I feel like this could be your leverage as well, but this feels like it's going to get you what you need. Untangling neglect. I take the time to give myself all the approval I desire, and you'd be surprised how much that inner child needs the approval that it never got from anybody, because you were supposed to be the one who gave it to him, right? Because then even when people do, oh no, you were so great at that, like, no, thanks, right? The divine child is what we all are at our core, but remember, not everybody has this archetype. When I take the time to give myself all the approval I desire, when neglect is untangled, you're no longer turning to outside sources for constant reassurance and validation, hence the Six of Pentacles, success on the inner. Instead, you're going within the depths of your own heart to notice the parts of yourself that require the presence of your attention. Hence the monk nun as well, saying, I need to go in. I need to go in. Now look, this reading might not be, usually I do them every other month, and the holidays excluded, obviously. It gets crazy. But to really take that time and say, this could happen over a week, this could happen over a day, this could happen over a year. Feels like this stuff can be delayed but not prevented. So don't delay. Give yourself the approval you desire. Sorry, I lost my place. The presence of your attention. In nurturing yourself in this way, you step forward as the first responder to each wound, concern, and desire. From this space, there becomes less of a likelihood of attracting relationships where further neglect occurs, including work, career, vocation relationships, simply because you have accepted your role as the one who nurtures the innocence within you. So look, I'm going to tell you, as someone who works in the, I guess, e-commerce, right, the digital economy, whatever, YouTube, Instagram, work on Patreon, all of that. If it's all about numbers, that can really be torturous to the inner child. What am I doing? I'm not getting enough likes. And that's why I'm no longer monetized on YouTube. Blessed be. I love YouTube. I always will. YouTube, Agatha Christie, Hercule Poirot audiobooks alone. 7-8 hours of them. I'm in heaven. But I'm glad I'm not. I demonetized myself so that like the numbers are just no longer an influence. If I'm looking at those numbers, and maybe there are other types of numbers in your life, it's a good metaphor though. If that's where you're getting your approval from the outside, it's like, no, you need to give that to yourself. And then maybe the numbers change, maybe they don't. This mantra is ideal for building self-confidence, surviving codependency, huge, and healing neediness. And a child can be needy, inner child, untangling neglect. There are 4 ego wounds: abuse, neglect, codependence, and loss, according to Matt Kahn, and I agree with him. All can be healed. However, you may not have been abused, you may not have been neglected, you may not have even been in a codependent relationship, although how? How? It wasn't from your family, it's from somebody. Pardon me, but everyone has the wounds of loss. And I'm getting now this, I don't cough a lot when I read. When it happens, it's usually a visceral thing saying you're chewing on something here with this life-changing decision. But it feels like this lightning has come in and animated the divine child in you. There's spiritual work here on the table either way. Creating cooperation. Because the advocate can't do it all themselves, right? It's not just Sarah McLachlan singing that song on TV that makes you jump for the remote because no! Trigger. Creating cooperation. More gets accomplished. More is accomplished when everyone has a role to play. When cooperation is created, the unity of all is accessed to accomplish more in one moment than any one person can do alone. with the sun inside of you and temperance on the outer, if you want, or maybe we're looking at you as you're going through a tempering process here, then this could be absolutely about spirit guides. This could be about spiritual teachers, even if you never meet them, right? Getting that everyone has a role to play in this. I'm just trying to do mine, putting compassion into action as part of my calling, which of course influences your career and your work, right? Coming down the chakras, as it were. As a creator of cooperation, you are giving others the right to contribute, which only broadens the effect of collective expression. Once cooperation is created, all facades of competition melt away, allowing each individual to feel a renewed depth of self-worth by serving a vision greater than any degree of individual gain. And if you've ever been in a workspace where there is competition, and then something comes up like a group challenge. What is this, RuPaul's Drag Race? But I think that's a really good, if you're not watching RuPaul's Drag Race, what? I love it still. I don't care. I will never have Drag Race burnout. It's not going to happen. It gives me too much life. But, you know, they're all out to win the, $100,000. But then when they realize, oh shit, I got to work with this bitch, right? And then they're all cooperating. The competition disappears, at least for that episode. I just gave you a Drag Race metaphor, which in and of itself is a metaphor of an actual whatever. This mantra is ideal for enhancing teamwork, transforming family dynamics with that child. I know that resonates with somebody out there, and increasing inner peace. Because if you don't work it out with your family, eventually you work it out in the workplace. It's just, I've seen it, I've done it, and that's why I work alone. I work from home. I'm self-employed. Work. But thank God for all of the people who support me along the way. I'm just the divine child. Anyway, so let me put it together for you. In a blessing, let's see what flies out my mouth. We do these blessings for realsies here. The summations. Got my blessing cords on and my torch of Archangel Ariel. Please take a nice deep breath. Say it through me. Bless him. I call upon the collective pantheons of the divine, asking that the Libra collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign watching this video, receiving this reading, be blessed with all that they need in their work, career, vocation, so that in their work they can embrace that selfless devotion and single-minded dedication to spirit as they take this critical point of view, going deep within, really looking at what's going on inside of them, maybe perhaps outside of them as well, as they make this life-changing lover's decision, bringing together the mind and the heart through loving, wise, empowered decisions, unhooking the past as they go, because there's nothing to regret when they learn from their past, and so that in their career as the divine child they embrace their innocence, purity, and redemption. Redemption, big word. Suggesting a special connection to the divine, which is certainly giving them an internal sense of success, wisdom on the inner earth sign moving forward there while things are being struck by lightning. And if that's them, then certainly untangling neglect, if they're the ones getting hit by lightning, what would facilitate that in the best way possible is taking the time to give themselves all the approval they desire, but perhaps all of a sudden something has happened in their career where now they really have to give themselves what they may not be getting from others. Inner child work for surezies. And so that in their vocation, they embrace the inspiration to put compassion into action for themselves as well, because they've got the sun on the inner. A lot of major arcana on the table here. This is a spiritual dealio going on for sure. It is predominantly spirit cards, major arcana cards they've got here. And particularly with the temperance on the outer, this is a healing process. This takes patience. This takes time. And it takes heat and pressure, and they've got that heat of the sun inside to then be able to put this compassion into action, but creating cooperation as they go, because more gets accomplished when everyone has a role to play, and may they play their role, and may they play it wisely and well, full love, wisdom, and power flowing through them every day, every moment, particularly untangling neglect within themselves, so that they heal learn, grow, evolve, feel more fulfilled, bring their chakras into alignment, and fulfill their role in the divine plan, because more gets accomplished when everybody has a role to play, their role in the divine plan, their fulfillment, blessing all of us through unity consciousness for the well-being of all, and with harm to none, as we will it. So let it be done. So mote it be. So it is. It's a great read. An advocate, divine child, monk nun, creating cooperation, untangling neglect, unhooking the past. Because more gets accomplished when everyone has a role to play. They're going to take time to give approval to themselves, and there's nothing to regret when they learn from their past. It's a really good read. So did you like it? Hit the thumbs up. Help other Libras find it. You want more of me here on YouTube? By all means, subscribe. You might want to hit the notification bell because I put them out at weird hours. Tried to keep myself to a schedule, drove myself nuts. Don't do that anymore. Let it flow, right? And if you want to come play Trion on Patreon. We're having so much fun there, and I just scheduled my first Zoom tarot party, all tiers. We're going to try and do that once a month. January 30th. You want to come play Trion on Patreon? It's there, of course, at the time of this recording. This is a timeless read, but let's see if we keep doing that. Otherwise, wishing you the very best and the very blessed, my beloved Libras. Let me know how this goes, right? We're a comment down, because otherwise, I don't know how this plays out, but give me a little hint. It's fun for me. Otherwise, it's like being dropped down in the middle of a movie and then get whipped out before you get to see the denouement. Thank you. Wishing you all the very best, my beloved Libs. Hail. Farewell. Blessed, blessed be.